What I'm going to do now is provide you with a definition of the absolute value function or the modulus function. Now this definition will look very strange if this is the first time you're seeing it. What you see is when I have a modulus function on the x, the value that you get depends on the value of x. Okay, so if the value of x is positive, I'm going to write plus v as positive, the result will give me an x. And if the value of x is a negative, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a minus in front of the x. Okay, for example, if I have a modulus of 3, okay, finding the absolute value of 3, first I gotta ask myself, is this value here positive or negative? Now in this case, this value here is positive, and therefore what I get back is just a 3. But if I have a negative 3 in the absolute value function, what's going to happen is, or rather I ask myself, is that value positive or negative? If that value is negative, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to put a minus in front of the negative 3 to give me the 3. Basically, what you have to do is this. If the value inside is positive, I'll get back a positive value. And if the value inside is negative, I'll get back a positive value. Now how do I get a positive value is by adding in a negative sign in front of that value. So after finding out the definition of the absolute value function or the modulus function, we can try the following example. What we're going to do is we are going to find or simplify each of the following and to give exact answers. Okay, exact answers, very important. Let's have a look at the first part, part A. Now that's 2 times the absolute value of pi minus 4. Now the first thing we need to ask is the value inside here positive or negative? Okay, is it positive or negative? Okay, so we know that the value of pi is something like 3.14 blah blah blah, which is less than 4. When we have a value which is less than 4 and we subtract minus 4 from it, what we're going to get back is a negative value. Okay, and according to the definition of absolute value function, if I have a negative value inside, okay, what we have to do is we need to, when we remove the absolute value function out from it, we need to put a minus in front of the pi minus 4. Okay, and this will give us 2, 4 minus pi, and the final answer will be 8 minus 2 pi. Okay, now let's have a look at part B. Part B looks long and complicated, but actually very easy. What we're going to do is we're going to find this 2 times square root 2 plus square root 3 plus absolute value of square root 2 minus square root 3, and this is what we get. Okay, now this value will always be positive. 2 times square root 2 will give you a positive value, plus square root 3, which will give us another positive value, and we add up 2 positive values, we'll get a positive value. So when we remove this absolute function away, it will just remain a positive value. Okay, there's no change to it, it remains the same. But let's look at this one here. Now root 2 minus root 3 will give us a negative value. And following back to the definition of an absolute value function, if I have a negative value inside, what I need to do when I remove this 2 bars here is I need to put a minus in front of the square root 2 and the square root 3. Okay, the result will be this. Okay, that becomes square root 3 minus square root 2, and your final result will be 2 square root 2 minus square root 2 will give you square root 2, and the square root 3 plus square root 3 will give us plus 2 times square root 3, and this will be your final answer. So let's have a look at part C of the previous example. Okay, so what we have is this. Part C is x plus 2 plus absolute value of 1 minus 2x. Now we have no idea what the value of x is, except they do tell us that x is more than 1. Now when x is more than 1, what we get is this. When x is more than 1, when we add this with the 2, we're going to get a positive value, and that means it just remains the same. But on this side here, when x is more than 1, okay, that value there, that minus 2x, becomes larger than 1. And when we subtract a value larger than 1 from 1, we will get a negative value here. So what we get is this. We need to put a minus outside. 1 minus 2x. And the result will be this. 2x minus 1. And then after that we just simplify. 3x plus 2 minus 1 will give us plus 1. And that will be the result.